The transport ship glided silently toward the Galactic Council station. It looked like a giant metal ring floating in space, orbiting the neutral world of Varix 9. Hundreds of lights blinked across its surface. Small shuttles came and went like bees to a hive. Inside the ship, Captain Alara Miles sat alone by the window. Her uniform was crisp, her posture straight, but her eyes were tired. She had traveled for 2 weeks from Earth. Now she was moments away from representing all of humanity. She wasn't a politician. She used to command a destroyer in Earth's defense fleet. But after seeing too many battles, she wanted peace. She had earned respect as a calm and fair leader. That's why Earth chose her as its first envoy to the Galactic Council. "Captain Miles, we're approaching the station," the pilot said over the intercom. "Understood," she replied, standing and adjusting her uniform. The station's docking bay was massive. Alara stepped out of the shuttle and into a world unlike any on Earth. Dozens of alien species moved through the halls. Tall insectoids, glowing energy beings, scaled reptilian diplomats, all under one roof, speaking in a mix of languages, gestures and thoughts. A greeting party awaited her. At the center stood Council Officer Liran, a pale blue being with 6 eyes and a calm voice. "Welcome, Captain Miles," Liran said. "We hope for peaceful progress in these talks." "So do I," Alara replied. "Earth is ready to prove it belongs in the galaxy." Liran's expression was unreadable. "Many will listen, some will not." Alara was taken to her quarters. The walls were sleek metal, the air sterile and cool. She unpacked her only personal item, a photo of Earth from orbit, taken during her last mission in space. Later she joined the first meeting in the Grand Hall. The room was shaped like a dome, with seats circling a glowing center. Delegates from 100 worlds watched as Alara stepped forward. She spoke slowly and clearly. "Earth has made mistakes. We've fought wars, yes. But we've also built, learned and survived. We don't come to rule, we come to listen, to help, and to join." Whispers followed. Some delegates nodded. Others sat still, unreadable. Then one voice cut through the silence. "The humans speak of peace, but they built weapons faster than any species in history." The speaker was Varnak Threx, tall and robed in dark blue. He was leader of the Zarnathi Dominion. His eyes were sharp, his voice cold. "They joined the stars with warships. How can we trust them?" Alara met his gaze. "We joined the stars because we feared being alone, not because we wanted to fight." Varnak said nothing, but the room had changed. A line had been drawn. After the session, Liran walked with Alara through the corridor. "You handled it well," Liran said. "But Varnak is powerful. He does not want humans here." "I expected resistance," Alara said. "But Earth won't be pushed out." She looked out a nearby window. Earth was millions of light years away, but the stars looked the same. She knew the road ahead would not be easy. The next day began early. Captain Alara Miles stood on a wide balcony inside the Galactic Council station. Below her, the central plaza buzzed with life. Floating drones moved overhead. Groups of diplomats and aides from different worlds walked together, talking in low tones. Some looked curious. Others avoided her completely. She took a slow breath and turned away from the window. Today was the first full day of peace talks. The council chamber was already filling up when she arrived. The round dome shimmered with light from above. Delegates sat at curved desks arranged in circles. At the center, a raised platform glowed softly, where the main speakers stood. Alara took her place. Her name appeared in glowing letters behind her. Captain Alara Miles, Human Envoy. Council Officer Liran stepped forward. "The session begins," Liran said in a clear, steady voice. "The floor is open." A delegate from the Virari cluster spoke first. She praised Earth's medical advances and said humans could help with disease control across the galaxy. Then a voice interrupted. Low, sharp, full of suspicion. "Medical aid does not erase a record of violence." It was Varnak Threx again. The Zarnathi leader stood slowly. He moved with calm authority, but there was tension in his posture. Humans have brought war wherever they go. You offer words, but your ships remain armed. Why should we trust you? Alara stood. Her voice was calm but firm. We did not come here to make threats. Earth's fleet is defensive. We protect ourselves, like any world would. Your defenses look like invasions to others. Varnak said. You build machines of war while speaking of peace. Murmurs filled the chamber. Alara didn't look away. We have learned from our past. I am not here to hide what we were. I'm here to show what we can become. Varnak said nothing, but his glare stayed on her. When he sat, others began whispering between themselves. The talks continued, but something had shifted. Suspicion hung in the air like smoke. After the session, Alara walked through the corridor with Riva, a Ceteri analyst who had introduced himself after the first session. You've stirred the hive, Reeve said, his skin flickering with soft green light. Better they say it now than behind closed doors, Alara replied. True, Reeve said. But be careful. Not all battles are fought on open ground. That night, in her quarters, Alara received a message from Earth Command. Fleet movement data was leaked. Our patrol routes near Varex 9 are no longer secure. Someone on the station may have accessed our systems. Alara stared at the screen. A security breach. Someone wanted to make Earth look dangerous. She sent a quiet reply. Understood. We'll investigate. No action without my signal. She looked at the stars through her window. Someone was trying to tear the peace talks apart and make humans the enemy. The day began in silence. No buzzing drones, no chatter in the halls. The air on the Galactic Council station felt heavy, like it was holding its breath. Captain Alara Miles stood in her room, staring at the message blinking on her screen. The words were simple, cold, final. Zarnathi warship destroyed in orbit. Suspected human weapon signature detected. Her heart sank. She rushed to the council chamber. The hall was already filled with chaos. Delegates shouted over one another. Screens above the room showed images of a broken Zarnathi cruiser drifting in space. Flames and debris floated around it like dust in the void. At the center, Varnak Threx stood tall and still. His voice, however, burned with anger. Proof of what I've said all along, he declared. Human ships hide weapons meant for war. Now one of ours is gone. Hundreds of Zarnathi lives lost. This is what trust in humans leads to. He held up a data shard. The display showed the weapon trace, a sleek, curved line of energy, marked with Earth's weapon signature. Gasps filled the chamber. Alara stepped forward, her voice louder than the noise around her. This is not right. Earth did not fire on your ship. Varnak turned toward her slowly. His expression was cold, like stone. Then explain the signature. Explain why your fleet is in position near Varex 9. Explain the leak of movement data from this very station. Alara's fists clenched. I don't know who leaked our data, but I promise you this attack was not authorized. Someone wants to start a war. Varnak looked at the council. We must act. The humans must be disarmed. Their fleet must retreat. If they refuse, the Zarnathi Dominion will consider this an act of war. Delegates murmured in agreement. Others hesitated, unsure. Council Officer Liren raised a hand for silence. This chamber will review all data before decisions are made, he said. But the situation is serious. Peace is at risk. The session ended in silence. Alara returned to her quarters, her mind racing. She opened a private channel to Admiral Niles back on Earth. Did we launch anything? She asked. No, the Admiral said firmly. We didn't even power weapons. But someone wants this to look like we did. Alara nodded. I need full access to our fleet logs. And I need someone on Earth to scan for any signs of signal tampering. We're on it, Niles said. She closed the channel. Then she called Reeve, the Ceteri analyst. I need your help, she said. What's going on? Reeve asked. I think someone faked a weapon signature to frame us, Alara said. We have to prove it. Fast. Reeve paused, then gave a short nod. Meet me in the tech lab. I'll bring my best tools. Alara grabbed her coat and stepped into the corridor. Alarms weren't ringing yet, but they would be soon. Outside the station, Earth's fleet was moving closer, for protection, yes. But others would see it as a threat. One wrong move now, and the whole galaxy could burn. Captain Alara Miles entered the tech lab deep within the Galactic Council station. The room was cold and quiet, lit by dim blue panels along the walls. Screens flickered with data streams in alien languages. In the center, Reeve stood at a control table, his long fingers dancing across a glowing interface. I've pulled the explosion data from the station's sensors, Reeve said without looking up. It's a clean hit. Direct strike to the Zarnathi ship's energy core. Alara stepped closer. And the weapon signature. Reeve tapped a panel. A red wave pattern appeared on the screen, pulsing slowly. It matches Earth's mark, he said. Exactly. Too exactly. Alara frowned. What do you mean? Real weapon traces have small errors, fluctuations in energy. This one is perfect. Like someone copied the signal from a database and pasted it here. Alara's heart jumped. So it could be fake. Reeve nodded. It's synthetic. I ran a deep scan and found a hidden sub-pattern, tiny distortions. Someone layered the human signal over another. Can you tell what's underneath? Alara asked. Barely. It's been buried. But the energy type, it's not from a human source. It's older. Zarnathi technology. Alara's eyes narrowed. So it was one of their own weapons. Possibly, Reeve said. Someone used Zarnathi tech to destroy their own ship, then masked it with a human signature. Alara took a deep breath. Varnak. Reeve looked uncertain. He stands to gain the most. The attack makes humans look like a threat. The council turns against you. War begins. Alara nodded. And Varnak gets to lead it. They sat in silence for a moment, staring at the screen. We need proof, Alara said. Solid proof. Enough to show the council. Reeve hesitated, then opened a secure file. I traced the signal back to a relay node on the station. It was accessed from inside the Zarnathi delegation's wing, just hours before the attack. Alara's eyes sharpened. Who has access there? Only Zarnathi staff, and Varnak. Alara stood. I'll speak to Liran. We need a council review before this spirals out of control. Reeve grabbed her arm gently. Be careful. If Varnak knows we're close, he might act again. Alara nodded. Let him try. The truth is our only weapon. Later that day, Alara met Liran in his private chamber. The walls shimmered like water, reacting to movement. Liran stood by the window, watching distant stars. I have something you need to see, Alara said. She handed him the datapad. Liran scanned it slowly. His expression stayed calm, but his tone changed. This is serious. It's a setup, Alara said. A plan to frame Earth and start a war. Liran looked at her. You realize what you're accusing? Yes, and I'm not making this claim lightly. Liran nodded. Then the council will hear this. But be warned, Varnak has influence. More than you know. Alara left the room with her jaw tight. They were close to the truth. But the truth alone might not be enough. If Varnak struck again, it would all fall apart. The council station grew quiet again. But this time it was the silence before a storm. Rumors spread like wildfire. Whispers in hallways. Eyes that once watched Alara with curiosity now looked at her with suspicion or fear. Captain Alara Miles sat in her quarters, staring at her screen. A new message had just arrived from Earth Command. Fleet Alpha is holding position near Verx 9. Coalition forces are watching. Recommend a delay in movement unless directly attacked. Alara rubbed her forehead. Even holding position looked aggressive to the council. But pulling back now might seem like guilt. Her door chimed. Come in, she said. Reeve entered, looking serious. I've double-checked the signal trail. It's clean. No doubt the forged data came from the Zarnathi wing. I even found traces of a cloaked transmitter. Whoever did this planned it carefully. Alara stood. Then we're ready. Reeve hesitated. There's more. Other species are choosing sides. Some support Earth. Others are afraid. If the council splits, war could start anyway. Even if we prove you're innocent. Alara's jaw tightened. Then we have to act now. Later in the Grand Hall, the council was restless. Delegates murmured to each other. The attack had changed everything. And now Varnak stood once more at the center. We can no longer wait, he said, voice cold and clear. Earth's weapons hang over this station. Their fleet is positioned for war. Their data has been leaked. And now, conveniently, they claim to be victims of a false trail. He turned, locking eyes with Alara. They expect us to believe this is all a trick. But how many of our people must die before we accept the truth? Alara stood slowly. Enough. The room fell quiet. You say Earth is dangerous. But the real danger is allowing lies to decide our future. I have evidence, clear, detailed, verified, that the attack on your ship was staged. She held up a datapad. Reeve activated a projection in the air. The weapon signal pattern appeared, then broke apart into layers. The hidden Zarnathi energy trace shone underneath. Gasps filled the chamber. Alara spoke again. This signal was faked, planted to blame Earth, and the device used to send it came from your wing of the station. Varnak didn't move. Council Officer Larian stepped forward. Is this true? Varnak's voice was low and sharp. You trust human machines. Human analysis. This is a trap. They twist data like they twist words. But we traced it, Reeve said. To your quarters. Varnak's eyes narrowed. The council erupted. Some shouted. Some called for calm. Others began to leave their seats. Alara stepped back. She felt the pressure building, like something was about to break. Her communicator buzzed. A private alert from Earth Command. Enemy signal detected near Varex 9. Possible unauthorized Zarnathi ship approaching. Her blood went cold. She turned to Larian. Something's happening. Another move. Varnak may not wait. Larian gave a single nod. Then we must act now, or all is lost. Back in her quarters, Alara watched the stars outside the window. She knew the final confrontation was near. One more attack, and the council would fall into war. No more talk. No more truth. The galaxy was one step from fire, and she was running out of time. Captain Alara Miles stood outside the council chamber. Her heart pounded. The proof was ready. The plan was simple. Present the truth, expose Varnak, and stop the war. But simple didn't mean easy. Riva stood beside her, quiet and focused. He held a secure case with the data logs, sensor records, and signal analysis, all of it tied to the hidden transmitter in the Zarnathi wing. Alara, he said softly, once this begins, he may try to stop us. He has supporters. She nodded. Then we make sure they hear us first. The chamber doors opened. Inside, the delegates were already seated. Tension filled the air. Armed security stood at the edges of the room. Something new. The council feared violence now. Even here. Council Officer Larian stepped into the center. This emergency session is called to address claims of sabotage regarding the attack on the Zarnathi warship. Captain Miles, you may speak. Alara walked to the central platform. The lights above her dimmed, and the room quieted. We now have proof, she began, that the weapon used to destroy the Zarnathi vessel was not of human origin, but disguised to appear that way. Riva stepped forward and activated the projection. The image of the forged weapon signal appeared, then peeled back layer by layer until the original Zarnathi trace glowed beneath. Gasps echoed through the room. Alara continued. We also found the transmitter used to plant the false signal. It was placed inside the Zarnathi delegation's wing. The access logs show one name, Varnak Threx. Varnak stood. This is a lie, he growled, fabricated by humans and their pets. Reeve responded calmly. The data is verified by 3 neutral systems. It can't be altered or faked. The signal was sent from your room. Varnak's hands tightened into fists. His eyes burned with fury. You dare accuse me, he shouted. I've protected this galaxy for decades. And now you bring chaos to our door. He turned to the council. They are invaders. They came here with weapons. Now they use words to cover their threats. If we don't act, now they will tear us apart. He reached into his robe. Alara reacted first. Stop him. 2 guards moved, but Varnak was fast. He pulled a small device, sleek, metallic, glowing red, a detonator. Alara dove forward. She grabbed his wrist just as he pressed the button. A faint beep, then nothing. She slammed his arm against the platform. The device fell and rolled away. A guard crushed it underfoot. Varnak struggled, but he was outnumbered. Security restrained him. Silence returned to the chamber. Liren stepped forward, face solemn. Let it be recorded, he said, that Varnak Threx has attempted sabotage and violence against the council. His actions confirmed the accusations. Alara stood, breathing hard. Her uniform was torn, her hands scraped, but she was still standing. This was never about war, she said. This was about fear, about control. But fear doesn't have to rule us. Not anymore. The delegates sat in stunned silence. Then one by one they began to nod. The truth had been heard, and the tide had turned. The council chamber was quiet now. The chaos had passed. Varnak Thrix had been removed, his influence broken. His supporters had fallen silent. Captain Alara Miles stood at the center, surrounded by a different kind of silence. One filled with relief, and something even greater. Hope. Council Officer Lorraine looked at her with calm respect. The council has reviewed all evidence, he said. Earth has been cleared of all charges. The Zarnathi Dominion will face its own investigation, and the peace talks will continue. A soft hum of agreement moved through the chamber. Delegates nodded, some slowly, others with quiet smiles. Alara gave a short bow. Thank you. Not just for listening, but for believing truth matters more than fear. Later she returned to her quarters. The photo of Earth still sat on her desk, untouched since the day she arrived. She picked it up now, brushing off the dust. The communicator buzzed. Go ahead, she said. Admiral Niles appeared on screen. Alara, congratulations. The fleet will begin withdrawing from Virix 9 within the hour. You've done what no one thought possible. Alara gave a small smile. We didn't come here to fight, I just needed them to see that. They did. The council is offering a long-term seat to Earth, diplomatic status, full access. Alara paused. I'm glad, but I won't take the seat. Niles looked surprised. Why? I belong on the ground, with people. Earning that trust, not sitting on it. Let someone else represent Earth officially. I'll work where I'm needed. Niles nodded slowly. Understood. I'll support that decision. The screen blinked off. Alara sat down by the window. Outside, the stars drifted quietly. Peace, for now, was real. But it was fragile, like glass floating in the dark. She knew it would take years to rebuild trust. Mistakes would still be made. But something had changed, something important. Humanity had stepped into the galaxy not as conquerors, but as equals. Not with weapons, but with truth. She leaned back in her seat, closed her eyes, and let the silence settle around her. For the first time in a long while, she allowed herself to breathe.